According to RMA's own analysis, the proposed changes will disproportionately benefit the largest oil and gas companies. They will see the greatest cost reductions with no guarantee of investment or job creation or even job protection in return. Municipalities will have no choice but to pass these losses along to their residents, resulting in massive cuts to services or property tax increases. In fact, rural municipalities would be required to raise property taxes by 200% on average in order to make up for the losses. 200%. But this is only the average. Some municipalities could see even higher increases. Brazeau County has said it could be up to 300% for them. Newell County could see a 466% increase. And Northern Sunrise County has said this could lead to a 521% increase in taxes. Let me be clear on that last one. These changes mean that families in Northern Sunrise County could be forced to pay as much as $9,518.77 more just this year alone.
What I believe is going to happen is that the models that we're talking about go from bad to really, really bad for municipalities, 4 different models. I think they're going to follow through with something bad for municipalities.
Well, don't let the photographs fool you. This is a community with no doctor, no store, barely any people. But what the pictures show, that even a dying town can be a very hard place to leave. The map of Canada is dotted with small isolated communities, many on the brink of extinction, and tonight we'll tell you about one of them and why. We're headed to Little Bay Islands off Newfoundland. It's one of dozens of outports where the province wants to move people out and save on services. But as Chris O'Neill Yates discovered, some residents are down on packing up.
We absolutely love it. We're outdoors people, we ski, we skate, we snowmobile, we're boating people. So all the things that we love to do are here in Outport, Newfoundland.
Money can't buy the happiness that this place brings us.
Little Bay Islands is breathtakingly beautiful, but the province believes it can save money by resettling towns like this. The new resettlement policy has the government offering its residents up to $270,000 to move to bigger communities. It will save millions of dollars. Peter Fenwick is an innkeeper. He's also the mayor of Cape St. George, which is about 370 kilometers away from Little Bay Islands. He's a vocal critic of resettlement.
So what happens is people stay, even if they don't want to stay. And the whole program works in entirely the opposite direction of what some foolish bureaucrat has designed it to do.
In some cases, Fenwick says people are holding off moving until they can get the government payouts. That only happens when 90% of residents are on board. It may take a decade for some communities, but under the program, they'll get paid much more to leave than their properties are worth.
I would hope that the government would say, our deficit is now $2 billion and we can't afford to do this anymore.
Take Little Bay Islands. There, the government built a ferry that was too big and costly to start with. It was built for more than $27 million in 2011, and it's more than $16,500 to operate per person per year.
Some bureaucrat or some politician in the past has decided that we're going to have this big fancy boat and that we're going to make sure that there's a cook on it who makes $100,000 a year and that virtually the entire crew does. So it's not the blame of the people in the small communities. It's the government's poor policies that have made it so expensive.
In fact, today my videographer and I were the only ones taking the boat on our return trip.
This is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world. It is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. And so many of us around the world think that, sustainable development, it just sounds so great. Isn't it about recycling and creative reuse and creating energy and food resources for everyone? And the answer is no, it really is not. It's about moving populations into city centers, concentrated city centers, and clearing them out of the rural areas. All systems have to be brought into harmony in order to control them all. Because when systems don't meet, when they're out of balance or not in sync with one another, they can't be controlled centrally. And the goal of Agenda 21 is one world government and total control from a central unit. Every nation that signed on to Agenda 21 has its local Agenda 21 plan. People in the United States are completely unaware of this. If I go out and talk about this, the United States press attacks me and calls me, which is totally ridiculous. It is but it's not a theory, it's a fact. The three pillars of United Nations Agenda 21 are economy, ecology, and equity, the 3 E's. And everyone sort of thinks that they know what that means, the idea of social equity. It must mean that, everyone's going to have access to clean water and clean air, and no one's property is going to be used as a dumping ground because they are at a poverty level. But really what social equity is about impoverishing huge portions of the population and bringing down the developed nations. Everything that we're looking at now is destined to collapse our economies. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world. And what major corporations want in this development is to be able to have full movement of workers without borders or boundaries, to be able to move their goods through without regulations, and to reduce wages. And so this is the goal. So this is what you find with social equity. And of course, economy and ecology is about, these are the 3 circles: economy, ecology, and social equity. And where they meet in the center is balance. But really that balance is a communitarian balance. So it's not balance of well-being of the people. What it is it's a balance for corporations so that they can exploit and control and have populations in an area, in tightly packed, dense areas, so that they can be surveilled and managed. And this is what that balance looks like as far as the development of a totalitarian state is. The mainstream media is owned by 5 major corporations, and you're not going to get this information from the mainstream press. So you need to be your own press. You need to educate yourself. You need to get out there and educate your neighbors, your community, your real community. You need to help your children understand that they're being indoctrinated from pre-kindergarten to postgraduate school. All of us have a responsibility to ourselves and to others. This is true community, to work for personal freedom. And always remember that even though we work as a group, if we do work as a group, we're all individuals in those groups. And we answer only to ourselves. And this is essential. It's essential as free human beings. This is what we are. We are free, and we need to continue to be free. And I do believe that we will win, but we have to become aware that there is a fight, and then make our friends and our neighbors and our community aware as well, and work together.